Okay, the day is currently September 25th, 2018, and that means that today, An Absolutely Remarkable Thing by Hank Green, his debut novel, is officially out into the world, and I'm very excited about it. And today, I'm going on a hunt to go and try and find this book so that I can read it. And I thought I would do a little bit of a reading vlog for this book. I was just gonna do a review on it, but I'm so excited about it. So I'm gonna take you guys along with me and we're gonna go and try and find this book. It is very early in the morning right now. Half the shops won't even be open because it's not even 8 a.m. But I'm gonna go and try and find it anyways, and then I'm going to read it today because that is something that needs to be done today. Okay, hello. It is quite a bit later since the last time that I spoke to you. It just turned 5 o'clock, 5 p.m. I had a massive search. I've literally been walking around trying to find An Absolutely Remarkable Thing all day. I went to Kmart and Target at my local shopping center first, and neither of them had them. So then I had to wait until 9 when all of the other shops in that shopping center opened. I then went into my local bookstore at 9 and had a little bit of a look around and couldn't see it, so I went up and asked if they were going to be getting in, and he said that it was on order, like they were meant to be getting it in today, but it just hadn't been delivered yet. So I gave him my number and everything, and he said that he'd text me if they got it in. So I then took a tram about half an hour away to the next nearest bookstore next to me. They didn't have it either. And so then I took a tram another half hour, so I'm now an hour away from my house, to the next nearest 2 bookstores next to me. Neither of them had it. I did give my number to each of those places because all of them were like, oh, we're meant to get it in today, we just haven't gotten it in today yet. And I was just like, oh my god, can somebody please just have this book? While I was at the shopping center, which is an hour away from my house, I got a text from my local bookstore being like, we've got the book if you want to come in and grab it. And so I got on a tram and went all the way back to my local bookstore, and it's here. I have it. It's real. Oh my god. I honestly don't even mind having to run around all of today and everything because I'm so happy that I finally have it. And I've read about 10 pages of it and it's so good. What the actual hell? Like, it just like pulled me in straight away. So today was definitely a success. And now I'm going to jump into An Absolutely Remarkable Thing, and I'm so excited. I've read around about a third of this. What page am I on? Page 111, and I love it so much. I'm always kind of nervous going into a book by somebody that I like love because I'm always like worried that like maybe it might not be too good, maybe I'll be disappointed, and especially with Hank because obviously this is his debut novel and I already loved him so much before this book came out, and so I was slightly nervous. Maybe I wouldn't like it, maybe I don't know, but like it's so good. Like, I have not been able to put it down since I picked it up. Like, my heart has literally been racing. Like, there's so much happening. There hasn't been like one slow part in the book where I'm like, maybe this could have had a little bit more detail, maybe this part didn't need to be in this book, maybe. There hasn't been one part like that at all. I am loving it so much. I've been sticky noting some of my favorite parts of the book, and I don't want to put it down, but I have to because I have to finish my assignment. The entire premise behind this book, like, I didn't really know much of what the book was about before going into it because I kind of wanted to just go into it blind, and the entire premise of this book is so good and so interesting and so Hank. Like, it's just so Hank. And I'm just, oh, I love it so much. It is now day 2 of me reading An Absolutely Remarkable Thing by Hank Green. I haven't read any more since I last talked to you guys, so I'm on chapter 8, which is page 111, and I am really hoping to just get it finished today, which I know will be absolutely no issue, and I'm so very excited to continue on with this book. So I'm gonna go and do that now, and I will keep you guys updated. Okay, so I'm like, I don't know, I'm like over halfway through the book now, and I just want to say, I didn't mention this earlier, one of the best things that has ever happened to me this morning. It was a great thing to wake up to, and that is that John Green put me in the new Vlogbrothers video. He did a little bit of like a compilation of photos of people holding Hank's book, and he included me. Vlogbrothers is one of the first YouTube channels I ever watched, and like, I'll show you.
And pictures of themselves reading it, and also the reviews are grouped, like the Associated Press just called.
Like, what the hell? I'm in a Vlogbrothers video. That is so crazy to me. Like, how did that even happen? Oh, okay, yeah, that's all I wanted to say. I'm gonna go back to reading the book now. Done. Oh my god. Oh my god, I just finished Hank Green's debut novel. Oh my god, I genuinely, like, I just can't wrap my head around the fact that I just read Hank Green's debut novel. It is currently about 10 p.m. on the 26th of September. The book came out yesterday. I just finished it. This is genuinely one of my favorite books I have read in so long. I loved it so much. This book made me laugh. This book made me cry. My heart was pounding for half the time I was reading this book. This book is so intense. It does not slow down. There's no parts where I felt like it could have been left out. Like, everything in this book was so incredible and so well written. Before I say anything that will even slightly resemble a spoiler, I'm just gonna say, if you have not picked up this book yet, you need to. You need to read this book. This book needs to be read and loved by everybody because it is so good. And like, I just finished it and I want to go back and start it over right now, which, to be completely honest, I probably will. This was incredible. It was remarkable. I went into this book really not knowing much about it, which is how I wanted to go into it. Really, all I knew about it was that it was told from the perspective of a 23-year-old, and it was a contemporary with some sci-fi elements worked into it. That's all I knew about this book before going into it, and I loved that. It had so much more of an impact on me from not knowing much about it. From the day that Hank announced that this book was being released, which was just over a year ago, I have been so excited for it. And just knowing that it's finally here and finally real and something that I have now read and absolutely adored, I'm just so happy. So I'm gonna talk just briefly about a few things that I loved in this book, and so if you don't want to be spoiled, then I would leave now. So yeah, bye. This book dealt so well with the idea of behind the scenes of somebody being famous. I feel like in media we don't really get to see that part unless you are somebody going through it, and any time that it's explained, it's always staged. It's always in a film or something. Nobody really ever talks about it. And this book did that so well. And it might be because Hank has experienced it. Obviously, he hasn't experienced it to that level, but he sort of knows what it's like for that to happen. One of the lines in the book on page 205 was, "I'm rich and famous and suddenly I feel like I have no friends." That's like the epitome of being surrounded by people, but like when you think of a celebrity, you think, oh my god, they're surrounded by people that love them, they have all of these fans. But in reality, when you're a famous person, obviously I'm not a famous person, but you can only assume that it would be so difficult to find friends who truly love you for who you are, because everybody will always see you as this famous person and somebody that's above you. And this book also dealt really well with mental illness and with the idea of just the trauma going on in your head. Another thing I absolutely adored about this book was it was such a book that Hank would write, if that makes any sense at all. Like, I have been watching Vlogbrothers for about 7 years now. 6 or 7 years. I've been watching it for a very long time. It was one of the first YouTube channels I ever watched, and so obviously I've watched like the Crash Course and SciShow and all of those sorts of videos as well. And this book was very Hank. There was so many references towards science and towards music, and it was just very much a book that Hank would like, and I could definitely see Hank in this book, which I really, really, really loved about it. This book also did such a good job at depicting what it's like to be somebody that completely blows up on social media, and just the power of social media. Like, social media is so strong and is so huge and is something that everybody uses, and you don't really think about how powerful Twitter or YouTube or something like that is, but then you read something like this and it just really puts it into perspective. That's a viral video. Like, it's just so insane how somebody can become famous like that overnight. And then also being able to see into April's brain and able to see how like she was struggling with coming to terms with it, and then also how she was loving the attention. Like, she went from somebody that barely used social media and barely was on the internet to somebody who was constantly on it and was wanting people to come up and take photos with her, and she didn't want it to end. She was terrified that that was going to end. I also just like loved just the premise of this story. She finds the statue in the middle of New York, and the same statue has showed up in 63 other locations around the world. The entire book is them trying to figure out what the hell are these Carls. And I loved the concept of the dreams that they had. I felt like that was so cool, and that was such a interesting and intriguing and well thought out way of figuring out what was going on and how everybody came together to figure it out. When April got half of her face cut off, oh my god. And I love how Hank added in the warning in there. Like, I don't know, that was just so like thoughtful. And then when she went back into the dream with Carl, and this time he actually was speaking to her, like, oh my god, I was in tears. And it also was kind of reminiscent of the Harry Potter scene at the end of Deathly Hallows, where he goes to platform 9 3/4 with Dumbledore. I don't know, I just got like a glimpse of that and I really liked that. And then also the way that this story was written, how it was like April writing the story. It wasn't like just a normal fictional book. It was like she was writing a diary to people that had experienced this. Like when they first filmed the very first video with Carl, she wrote, "You've heard Andy say those words. If you're a human who's ever been near enough to internet connection to hear them, whether or not you speak English, whether or not you've owned an electronic device in your life, if you're a Chinese billionaire or a Kiwi sheep farmer, you've heard it." It makes you feel like you're a part of the world because that's how it's been written, and I absolutely adored that. And this book just genuinely kept me on the edge of my seat the entire time I was reading it. Like I said, my heart was pounding throughout the entirety of reading this book because I just needed to know what happened next. I did not want to put this book down. I did put it down a few times because I wanted to savor it a little bit because it was so good and because I had been anticipating it for so long. I just wanted to savor it a little bit rather than reading it all in one sitting, which I definitely could have done. I am so excited for the second book. The way that this book ends with the knock on the door and then Andy getting a text saying knock knock from April, and then it just ends like that. Like, what the hell, Hank? You can't just do that. Also, can I just say, this isn't a part of the actual book, but the acknowledgements in this was so cute. I absolutely loved the last paragraph in here. I also want to thank every single person who ever says you have to read this book to a friend. I don't care if it's this book. I just want people to remind each other how wonderful books are. It's so true. Like, books are just so incredible. I love books so much. I love Hank Green so much. I loved this book so much. I'm so happy that this book is here and that I've read it and that it was as incredible as it was. I don't know if I've mentioned this yet, but this book is 1,000,000,000% getting 5 stars from me. I've already put it into my Goodreads. Thank you, Hank, for writing something so very incredible that I just want to reread right now. I hope you guys enjoyed this little bit of a different type of sort of review book video from me. I kind of just wanted to take you guys along on the entire process of getting the book to reading the book and finishing the book and talking about it. I really enjoyed doing that. If you have read An Absolutely Remarkable Thing by Hank Green, which if you're watching until the end of this video, I really hope you have, because if not, I've completely spoiled the entire book for you. But if you have read the book, hopefully, let me know down in the comments what you thought about it. I would absolutely love to know, because I want to talk to people about this book because it was so incredible, and I need to theorize and just talk to people about this book because it was so good. All of the codes, all of the clues, all of everything, it was just so good, and I need people to talk to about it. Thank you once again, Hank, for writing this book. You did an absolutely incredible job, and I cannot wait for the sequel. If you enjoyed this video, you can give it a big thumbs up. I would really appreciate that. You can hit this subscribe button here if you would like to see more content from me. You can watch my last video here, and all of my social media links are here. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I love Hank, I love this book, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!